So my name is Tanikia Jackson, and I am the program coordinator with the National Medical Fellowships. I have been with NMF for 2 years now, a little bit past 2 years, and this is actually my third cycle of scholarships with NMF. As you can see on the front of this presentation is one of the pictures of our scholars, Natasha Ramsey. She was actually gave a speech at our last Champion of Health Awards in New York, but she's an excellent example of our scholars, and I believe she's received 3 scholarships with us, and she is a student at New York University. So today's webinar is about our general scholarships, and I'm going to give you some information on what they are, what we're looking for, how to apply, and hopefully if you have questions to answer those questions as well. You are muted, everyone is muted, but you can ask questions in the chat box or the Q&A box, and I'll go over everything at the end. So let's get started. About National Medical Fellowships. So our mission at National Medical Fellowships is to increase the pipeline of physicians and health professionals who have the professional knowledge and cultural competency and commitment to provide quality health care to all members of our diverse society. That is a mouthful, and we really do this in a couple of ways. The way that we do it is that we provide scholarships and service learning programs to underrepresented minority medical and health professional students. The scholarships are just a monetary award, which we'll go over those today. And the service learning programs are a monetary award, but they also carry with them you have to complete a 200-hour community service project, which works out really well for a lot of medical students because they're already planning to be involved with community service in some way, and this way they can sort of get a scholarship on top of that to go with the time that they're already spending doing that. If you have not heard of our service learning programs, I'll point them out to you today in case you are interested or in an area where you can apply for them. So a few more things about NMF. We have been around for 70 years, so NMF has been awarding scholarships for quite a while, and we started off as an organization that provided funds to African American doctors and have expanded from that point in the last 20 years or so to include Hispanic, Asian, and other underrepresented minorities, along with the African American doctors who we support and serve. We also partner with national and regional organizations in order to provide those scholarships or to provide opportunities to our students. So here are a couple of our partners for the general scholarships. We have the Hugh Anderson Foundation, the Josiah Macy Jr. Foundation, the New York Community Trust, and the Gerber Foundation. We also have a few more that are not listed here, but I just wanted to highlight a few of them. I also want to highlight that a number of our scholarships are actually supported by NMF alumni. So these are people who have previously received scholarships for NMF. Like I said, we've been giving scholarships for 70 years, and so we have a wealth of alumni to draw from, and they have become more and more active over the last few years, where we focused on really getting them involved and having them to give back to students who were in a position similar to where they once were when they received help from the National Medical Fellowships. So our scholarships invest in underrepresented minority medical students. It also provides networking opportunities for students, alumni, and medical professionals. Once you graduate from from your school, you're welcomed into the NMF Alumni Program. We also have a program called the Next Generation Alumni, and those are actually made up of recent graduates and also people who are still in school but have received scholarships from NMF. And what we do is we try to make connections between those who have recently received scholarships and those who have been practicing for quite a while in order to give you access to those people and to allow for the flow of ideas and mentorship and all of that. A lot of that we are still working on what that really looks like, but and formalizing those pathways, but it's definitely something that we feel would be an asset to our students, as well as a lot of our alumni want to give back more than financially, and one of the ways that they can do that is through the knowledge and experience that they have gained. So, of course, it reduces the student loan debt burden, which is very hefty for medical students, and our scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,500. The other thing is that as a scholar, once you receive a scholarship from us, you're not automatically guaranteed to receive another scholarship from us, but you are in our application pool. Sometimes we do look directly at people who have received scholarships in order to give you more opportunities or different opportunities. And we do also take that into mind when we're looking at applications. We consider whether or not a scholar has received a scholarship from us. A student has received a scholarship from us. With that in mind, you always want to put your best foot forward and be an excellent scholar. Program eligibility. So I want to point out that our general scholarships do not have a complete eligibility that all of them meet, but each program is different because they come from different donors, and the donor asks for something that's kind of individualized a lot of the times. If you have looked at our website, and you've gone through our general scholarships, you'll see that we have very few scholarships that are just open for any and everyone to apply. They tend to be more targeted than that. But you have to meet the following. You have to be a U.S. citizen, and something that's not on here is, or if you hold the DACA status, which is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival, and you have to have a documentation for that, that can get you around the U.S. citizen thing. But you do have to be attending a U.S. accredited medical school. You have to identify one of the following underrepresented minority groups: African American, Latino, Native American, Asian American, but Asian American is limited to Vietnamese or Cambodian only. And in case you're wondering, how did NMF decide that these are underrepresented minority groups? We base our information off of what the AAMC has released as their list of underrepresented minority groups, which is also part of how we have added DACA students to that, and they have done the research and acknowledged that DACA students are very often underfunded and don't go through to make it through to become doctors because of how expensive it is. So that's a large part of where our criteria comes from. You have to have demonstrated leadership at an early stage so that we can tell through your application, your resume, your letters of recommendation, as well as your essays that you write, and then be committed to serving medically underserved communities. And some scholarships have more of an emphasis on this criterion than others do, just so you're aware. So these are the scholarships that we are offering this year. I hope that you can see them. As I said, they range from $2,500 to $7,500, and the $2,500 starts with the Manhattan Central Medical Society Scholarship, and that one is limited to African Americans in the New York metro area. We actually have quite a few in the New York metro area, so if you are in New York, please apply to our scholarships. Other ones that are in New York include the David Kearney McDonough Scholarship in Ophthalmology/ENT. If you have an interest in either one of those, ophthalmology or ENT, please apply to that scholarship. This scholarship is one, like I said, we have some that are funded by our alumni, and this one is one that an alumnus started, and he's gotten a larger group of alumni behind him in order to expand this scholarship. So right now it's at one scholar, but we may end up awarding more than one award. And for that one, you do have to be in New York, as I said, and attend an event in order to receive the award. The Hugh Anderson Scholarship, this one has been in effect for a few years. It goes to a Minnesota area underrepresented minority student. Then we have the Gerber Scholarship, which is one of the more general ones that we have, but you have to have an interest in pediatrics or an emphasis on nutrition, but it's not limited by year or location or anything like that. I'm going to skip that one for just a moment. So two more that are in New York are the New York Community Trust Scholarships. The medical research one, you have to be conducting research now in order to be eligible. I do want to make an amendment to this. It says second or third year. We do consider fourth year students for this award. Second or third year is preferred, but if you're a fourth year student and you're currently involved in research, go ahead and apply. I believe last year one of the scholars that we had did receive it, and he was a fourth year student. So I don't want you to count yourself out. And then the other one, which is also by the New York Community Trust, is medical education and health policy. And you have to have an interest in either one of those. So not necessarily both, but either one. But it is limited in terms of it's not just New York area, but it's also you have to have an affiliation with one of these places. So then we also have the Victor Grifols Rohrer Scholarship, which is around hematology, and you must be a student who is in California. So this list, I want to say, is a pretty condensed list. As of right now, these are all of the general scholarships that we are offering. We do have a couple more if you've been following NMF or if you have applied for awards with us before, then you may have heard of a few scholarships that I haven't listed here, and those scholarships are either not being offered this year or they're not being offered at this time. If you were thinking of applying for one of those scholarships, I would say stay tuned in because they may be offered in the spring of next year instead of the fall of this year. So just keep that in mind. So now we're going to talk about the application. The deadline is September 15th, which is next Thursday, just so you are aware. And we try to stick as closely as we can to our deadline, so please get your applications in. We can be, if we have a heads up, we can be a little flexible on recommendation letters, but it won't be an extra month or an extra 3 weeks. It might be an extra week that we would give you to get your recommendation letters in. But just to go over the things that are necessary, your transcripts, your student aid report, which comes from your FAFSA, the verification of citizenship, which is done through, it can be your birth certificate, it can be your passport, or, as I said, because we have widened our eligibility to DACA students, it can be the official letter that gives you the term of being of having the DACA status. Your financial aid transcript is a form when you fill out your application on the NMF website. There is a space for you to put in the name and email address of someone from your financial aid office, and that will trigger an email with an attachment to be sent to them, and they will submit it directly to the website. So you want to identify that person before you put them in and let them know to look out for it so that you can be sure to, they can be sure to fill that out and get it back in for you. And that basically just, it documents your financial aid for the time that you have been in school. You can see a copy of it on our website as well. 2 personal statements. Depending on the scholarship, it may only be 1 statement or essay. You may have to give some information on your interest in a particular area. Like I talked about the Gerber Scholarship for Pediatrics, which asks specifically what is your interest and experience with pediatrics as well as nutrition. The hematology one asks that, and so does the ophthalmology one. They all ask something that is specific to that area because, as I said, we want to make sure that we get students who that's their future to go into those areas. And then your CV or resume, your bio sketch, which there's a sample of bio sketch on our website you can look at, but basically it gives us just a brief blurb on sort of who you are, what about what you hope to do, and then documentation of your loan history, which comes from the NSLDS website. I'm going to go to our website really quickly just so that you can see this, and we have a great frequently asked question page, which gives you a lot of information and answers many of the questions that you might have about our scholarships. If you can't find an answer there, then I would say to check out the application checklist page. And if you can't find the answer there, to then give us, send an email to us and we'll get back to you. You'll hear me say this a couple of times, but email is really the best way to get in contact with me in order to pose a question or to figure out something with the website if you have any problems. Okay, so this is our general scholarships and awards page, and I'm going to go to application checklist. Oh, let me just point out a couple more things. So these are all of the scholarships that are available now. If you notice, I didn't mention a few of them, like the Franklin McLean Award, which is for fourth-year medical students, as well as the Cadbury Award, and those are awarded internally. We are awarding them this year, but we have a process where we will contact people specifically if they're eligible for it. Same is true of the R.S. Severinghouse Award, in case you're wondering how to apply for those. They have internal processes that we go through. Okay. The application checklist. And here it breaks down everything that you need to apply, including the questions that we ask on the application. So this one says that it's United Health specific, but I'll tell you now the personal statements that are asked for here are the same ones that we use in many of our other applications. So in case you wonder what that looks like before starting the application. 2 letters of recommendation, one from a dean or faculty member, someone at your school, and then the other from a leader, volunteer, or supervisor who can speak to your commitment to the community. So as I said, we provide a sample of the bio sketch, which is right there, if you're wondering about that. All right. And then your resume, pretty straightforward. Personal documents that are listed there. As I said, we also have the, we ask for the DACA documentation if you meet that status. NSLDS, or National Student Loan Data System, is there. And then if you wanted to see what does the financial aid transcript look like, there it is right there. And this is the form that gets sent to the person in your financial aid office. Okay. So that's the application checklist. Like I said, it gives you a breakdown of all the information that you need. And then I'll also show you the frequently asked questions, just so you know where it is. And here you can see just answers to some of our most common questions. So please use those resources. Okay, again, the deadline is September 15th, 2016. I want to go back to the website because I also want to point out our service learning opportunities that are available. So if you haven't checked them out, We currently have 3 service learning programs that are going on. If you're in California, we have the California Community Service Learning Program. Again, it's a scholarship of $5,000, and then you also have to complete a self-directed community service project. So if you have something that you've been thinking about working on or you are working on, feel free to apply for that, and anyone within California can be, is eligible, or any medical student obviously within California is eligible. Then we have the United Health Foundation Diverse Medical Scholars. This one is a $7,000 scholarship. The California program, we accept 10 students. For United Health, we have 30 slots, but 15 of those are renewal. It's a kind of a cool program because unlike the other ones, once you are a scholar, in order to renew, all you really need to do is sort of send us a essay on how you are going to expand your project or what you plan to do for the next year. So it's really good for anyone who's looking at doing something long-term. But there are specific areas for this program as well. They include Phoenix, Arizona, Orlando, Tampa, or Miami, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Albuquerque, New Mexico, New York, which also includes the New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. It's the part that is considered the greater metropolitan New York City area. The only exception to that is that in Pennsylvania, we also include Philadelphia, which is technically outside of that area. Then we have Nashville, Tennessee, San Antonio, Texas, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So those are excellent programs. Like I said, if you have something going on, it would be great for you to apply for one of those. The only thing I would say is that you cannot just be volunteering in one of those programs. You actually have to be the one who is leading it, setting goals for it, that sort of thing. So as we are headed to close things out, if you have more questions, you can contact me at scholarships@nmfonline.org. Again, my name is Tanikia Jackson. This is a phone number that you can call, but I currently work 2 days a week, so a lot of times it's better to send me an email, and I will get back to you faster that way. And then if there's really something that's complicated or we're not understanding each other, then we can have a phone conversation. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm ready to take questions. So if you have questions, put them in. I see that there are a few that are already here. One of the questions is about being a U.S. accredited medical school in the Caribbean. So unfortunately, that is not eligible. You do have to be at a school within the United States. Okay. And I have another question. Are U.S. citizens who are studying abroad at an accredited medical school? Again, it has to be a school within the United States. Okay. Does U.S. citizen include permanent residents too? No, you do have to be a U.S. citizen or naturalized or a DACA student. I have a question more about the UHF scholar. I would need a bit more of a specific question to address for the United Health Scholars. Is there something specific that you're wondering about then? The application deadline for all of our scholarships is the 15th for sure, yes. If you have questions about like the United Health Scholarship and I guess what do I mean with the Community Service Project, on our website there is also a resources tab. I can show you this real quick. So, under resources, we have the NMS Scholar Project databases, and that database you can look and see projects that students have done in previous years, and you can see what kind of projects we are looking for. So again, they do have very specific areas that they want to address. You do have to be a current medical student in order to be a part of the program, and you have to be addressing following one of those areas, but they are very focused on the target areas that they're looking at. Okay. Well, I think those are all of the questions that I have received. And again, the application is due in weeks, September 15th. Please go fill out your applications, get your recommendations in, and email me. Feel free to email me with any questions that you may have. I am here to help as much as I can. All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate you joining today, and have a great day.